Thank you very much. As you know, I'm not the founder of the Chila. I did it with a few friends. Some of them are here. And at that time, we were very busy using our creativity to create new procedures, using terrible tools. And after we've plateaued and we are all with gray hair and with the feeling that been there, done that, we're also interested in developing technology that will help surgeons learn fast and perform a better surgery in a more safe fashion. And I'd like to speak a little about surgical robotics because I think we're going to enter an era of breakthrough and an explosion of robotics in the operating room, and I think we should be ready for it, both from a training point of view, but also from a political, environmental point of view. These are my disclosures. These are two robotic companies in Israel that I will show during my presentation. So when you think about a robot, robots do this. So this is the production line of the Golf, the Volkswagen Golf. You can see that there are hardly any humans involved when the chassis is produced. It's made faster, quicker, in a very precise way. But this is a very repetitive, very controllable environment, and it's very different from what we are doing in the operating room when the environment is much more complex, when the variability is much bigger, and the stakes are also much higher. It's not just you ruin a chassis of a golf car, you can kill somebody. But robots are changing. Every time I speak about robotics, I try to update my presentation. This is a last version of a robot by Boston Dynamics, and you see this is completely autonomous. There's no involvement of a person making decisions from this robot. The robot is told to open the door and go to the next room, and the guy is trying to be in the robot's way. It's a long video. I'm not going to show you all of it, but he pulls him back. He does a lot of things, and the robot persists and goes back and bypasses all the obstacles, and at the end goes to the other room. There's even a better video where there are two robots. One is opening the door for the other one, and the other one is going in. And you know what? It's great. And you know what? It's pretty scary. Robots are actually information machines, and this is what makes them so fantastic. The ones that we use today are not information machines yet, or they're barely information machines. They're more like mechanical, electromechanical systems. And I'm not going to speak about a lot of robotic systems that will enter our market in all these fields, but we'll focus a little about surgery. The overview of surgery is actually mechanical manipulation of tissues. And we are dealing with two types of diseases. One is on the left, mechanical diseases. Something breaks, something wears and tears, a hernia, trauma, we fix it. The other one, which is much more complex, is cell-based diseases like cancer or infection. And I think in cell-based diseases, the place for mechanical manipulation of tissue is going to shift tremendously from the operating room to other places, and that's what I'm going to discuss now. So the future of surgery is going to be like the Chinese world in the yin and yang future. There are two types of organs that we deal with, the hollow organs and the solid organs. The hollow organs, we're going to be dealing more and more from within, through the tube. And the solid organs, we're going to use a lot more energy that's directed to the organ and not without removing pieces of the organ. So the progress of robotics in these two areas will be from what we have today, which is electromechanical systems, to very early in the very near future to assisted surgery, which is procedure where the robot will help us make decisions or will guide us through the procedure or will stop us from making mistakes, to semi-autonomous procedures where we will define what the robot should do and the robot will do it faster and better than us, to fully autonomous systems. And this will happen in all these fields that I've spoken about. And there are different platforms for robotics as well. So there are rigid and semi-rigid platforms and flexible. They could be a console, which I call furniture robots, which is what the Da Vinci system is, which is a big piece of furniture standing in the room. There will be bed-mounted robots. They are coming into the market very soon now. And there will be also handheld instruments that have a lot of the functionality of robotic systems today. So Da Vinci have actually paved the way of robotic surgery. They did an amazing job. They managed to exist for years and years without making any profit. I saw the first Da Vinci case in 1997. I trained on the Da Vinci robot in 2000, the first system that I have a credential on, and it's still there. But it is still an electromechanical system. It is something that does exactly what the surgeon done, which is more or less like a Bugatti Veyron. So it's a car, it costs about the same as a Da Vinci. It's great to drive in, it's amazing to sit in, but it still takes you from one place to the other. And it goes wherever the driver tells it to go. And it costs the same, by the way. But Da Vinci has exceptional engineering. It's easy to learn how to operate it. It has a fantastic human interface. And it wants to be everything. It wants to be the vision, the manipulation, the electrosurgery, the stapling, the imaging, everything is there. And it has 7 degrees of freedom, and it has stability and motion scaling, and fantastic 3D vision, which I think contributes a lot to the reason why it's so easy to work with. And it's a very good ecosystem. I think there are a lot of competition coming into the market in the next year that will make this market completely different. So in the era of furniture, we have the Senhance robot, which is not as good, but much cheaper. We have med robotics, which I think is limited in the areas where it can function, but it's a transoral or transrectal surgery. Will allow us to perform procedures in the rectum and lower and sigmoid, about 30 to 50 centimeters from the rectum. And Da Vinci is coming with another furniture, which is the Da Vinci SP, Da Vinci for a single port, which has been, this video I've been showing for 5 years, and the device is not on the market yet, but apparently it's coming out soon. But there are several more companies that are coming with similar products. Single port devices, virtual incision is the one on the top, Titan is the one on the bottom. 2 companies that are coming with single port robots that are going to be approved in the next year that will allow us to do single port procedures. I don't think they will change dramatically, but there will be competition, and competition is good for us because we are customers in this field. And Da Vinci will cease to be a religion and will start to become a product, which is where it should be. The second group of robots that will come soon are bed-mounted robots. They are very flexible. They allow us to put different arms, 1 or 2 or 3 arms on the table. They still talk to each other, and they're still driven from a control unit, from a console, but they will be probably cheaper and allow us for more flexibility in the operating room, will not require so much space. You can move the bed while operating, which is very good. You don't need to buy a specialized bed. And there are several companies that are working on similar products that are all based on industrial robots, industrial robotic arms. Pretty cool instruments. They are all coming to the market next year. One of them, which we haven't seen a lot of videos of, but is apparently almost at the market, is a company from England, Cambridge Robotics, which has a very, very elegant 3-arm robot, bed-mounted. They can probably do a lot of what we do today with very large consoles. Johnson & Johnson with Google have a company, have started a company called Verb Surgical, which is trying to build a robot that will take all the cloud computing powers of Google and introduce them into the robot. I think this can change a lot because you could consult a system about the next move. You can ask for assistance. You log on to the videos and databases of other surgeons. And this will probably create a community of surgeons who will be consulting each other via cloud computing platform. I think this could change dramatically the way we operate, especially on the issue of safety. If you look at autonomy, this is also something that's slowly changing. This is what you're watching is a video of a Da Vinci robot that's controlled by artificial intelligence. The task is performed completely autonomously. The robot the task was defined, and the robotic system performs it by itself. It works very, very nicely, but it's not perfect. Here, the AI is not perfect, and we'll see some parts of it are not done amazingly. But if you think of it, when this system is perfected, you can probably imagine yourself defining a few spots on the screen, telling it, okay, we need to anastomose this to that, and then just sit there and watch. Sometimes it doesn't work so well. Now, so I think there's merit in larger systems will allow autonomous surgery, which I think is very interesting. But if you look at flexible endoscopy, this is an amazing field for innovation and for robotics. This is actually a video from Silvana trying to perform what seems to be group sex, but is actually transvaginal cholecystectomy using a flexible endoscope, a procedure that took I don't know how many days or months. I mean, at a certain point, they stopped using a watch and moved to a calendar. And the reason is that this platform is completely unsuitable to perform complex procedures. And this is why I admire her, for instance, because she does very complex procedures with a horrible platform. And believe me, I tried myself. I finished a course in IRCAD doing flexible endoscopy. And what I felt is that that's what I'm trying to operate like this, okay? So I am a surgeon with one eye and with forceps attached over my forehead. And wherever I move, this is what happens. And they want me to do an ESD with that. And I think it makes no sense. I think this is why surgeons, when they go into this field, they will have not only to learn basic endoscopy, but they will also have to be equipped with much better instruments. And they're coming, these instruments. Some of them are using the regular flexible endoscope and piggybacking a robotic system to drive there, which I think is a cool idea. And the other is what Silvana showed you, which is robotized scopes, which I think that's where we're going. And I think when these will be on the market, we will all be endoscopists. And there's also a big gap between stupid laparoscopic tools that we use today and the complex machines. And you know, 3D is not something that we cannot buy as it is. We don't need a big system to buy 3D video. And that's why a few companies are building handheld electromechanical systems that give it a lot of the functionality, but with a fraction of the cost and a much more flexible system. Some of them are failed because they were too big or were very difficult to operate. And I want to show you one that I'm proud of, which is an Israeli company that we've started here. And this is an electromechanical device that allows you to achieve the degrees of freedom of a robotic system through a very small device. Luigi Boni, who is in this audience, has had the honor of doing the first human cases using the prototype about a year and a half or 2 years ago. And he has done several cases. We've made the system smaller. It's now 5 millimeters. The tips are could be changed. And this is the fresh from the operating room. The device was FDA approved a month ago, and we've started a clinical trial in Israel in 2 places, in Asuta by me and in Asaf HaRofeh by Professor Zmora and Amir Ben Yehuda. And we've done several cases already and waiting for the Israeli Ministry of Health to let us continue. When you look at robots, you expect something like, you expect more like something like this, which is a robot that will function better than us. And the reason is that they should be faster and see and respond much quicker than humans. And there's actually something that all of us who use video would want very much to have, which is somebody will keep the image stable. And this is another Israeli company that I think is very interesting, which is MST, which allows us to, it's this a robotic camera holder. Differently from a stupid electromechanical system, this system has a brain, identifies the video images, and knows what we're doing, looks at what the focus of our instrument is, and allows us to perform surgery hand-free. The robotic system holds the camera almost automatically, which I think this is as a good example of a robot with a brain. The next thing that I think we should focus on is on directed energy and ablation. I think I'm not going to steal Doron's topic, but I want to tell you that iSecure, which is a company that is doing cryoablation of breast tumors, has just finished a clinical trial on early stage breast cancer with 146 patients, and the results at 2 years are identical to surgery when the patient, without surgery, when the patient goes home 20 minutes after the case is done. Another system will be the ablation of prostate cancer, which I think will probably kill some of Da Vinci's world. And I think that for this reason, because a lot of solid organs are going to be treated by ablation, surgeons need to go into imaging and surgeons need to learn ablation, because this is going to take away a large part of what we do. So to summarize, I think that all these systems, furniture, bed-mounted, handheld, endoluminal, and directed energy, will move from electromechanical to assisted to semi-autonomous and fully autonomous, and that surgery will change from something that slowly merges into image-guided interventions that will be focused on the disease, not on the technology. And I think it's going to be very interesting and a lot of competition, and we have to always remember cost effectiveness. We cannot just, we're not only working for our patients, we're working for our society, and we couldn't drain the resources of the entire society just because we're happy sitting somewhere. And I think the take-home message is that we should move into flexible endoscopy, directed energy, and robotic surgery, of course. Thank you very much.